Hello, people. I hope you are keeping healthy and safe. With this wish, let's get started. Okay, so today we have some very interesting data types to discuss. The first one on the list is sets. Okay, so guys, you might have wondered or heard about this very concept called sets in your primary classes or might be going through it, and you always get to understand this very beautiful definition always on the books or on the web. The definition is something like this: it's a collection of unordered objects which are distinct. So in simple words, it is written as it is an unordered collection of distinct objects. I'm just writing the same for your reference. So you can probably see it's written as unordered collection of distinct objects. So the first word which is very important is unordered, and the other one is distinct. So unordered, what do you mean by that? Something which doesn't have a specific order. You cannot say this is the 0th position, this is the first position, this is the second position. So you do not specifically number it, or you do not specifically identify it as a the 0th position or first position, second, third, so on. And distinct means all are different. It's the beauty of this very definition, these two very important words. So let's understand this with a layman ideology. Just think about a situation that you have a bucket with a lot of different balls. All these balls are of different colors. So to make these all balls different and distinct, I am giving them different colors like red ball, black ball, blue ball, white ball, gray ball, all these different balls. Okay, so these all balls are of different colors, therefore they are different distinct balls. And in the bucket, I won't say that this is my first ball, this is my second ball. All these balls are just a collection of balls. I cannot mention that this is my first ball, this is my second ball. It's not that I have put it first and second and third, therefore I'm saying that first, second, third. I'm just saying that this is a collection of balls. I cannot order them. So it is an unordered collection for me. This collection of ball is an unordered collection for me, and these are all different because of their colors. So this is a set. This is a set of unordered collection of balls which are all different. So this is a term which we understand in our primary classes called sets, and this is very beautiful and this is very layman if you understand in this way. So why do we require it? The only reason we require it is that when we are not looking at something where there is an order, and when we are looking at something where the objects should be all different, they should be all distinct, there should be no duplicacy. Just think about a situation: you are trying to have a list of all the employees in a company. Somebody is doing it manually, and sometimes he or she duplicates employee ID. You are trying to write all the employee names, he or she duplicates the employee name, not understanding the fact that he has already written it. So that sort of situation we want to avoid, and we want to create sets, a collection of distinct objects in that case. Just look at the screen and you would be able to get a more better understanding of this following concept. So just think about a situation that I'm trying to get all the distinct numbers in a collection. So I wrote 1, 7, 7, 10, 11, 11, 11, 12. So 7 has been repeated 2 times, but my intention was to get 7 just once. And 11 has been repeated 3 times, but my intention was just to get it once. So if I just define a set which is defined with this curly bracket, starting with a curly bracket, ending at a curly bracket. So I have to start with this, start writing my elements, and end at this. If I look at the output, I can see it has taken 7 just once. So it is removing all the duplicacy. It has written 11 also just once, 10 once, 12 once. It was feeded once also, but it has also taken it once. This is the beauty of it. It removes all the duplicacy. If you try to inquire the type of it, which is by the type keyword in Python, type, it is giving me that it is the type set. Now comes the interesting part. We talked about the fact that all these elements are unordered. There is no specific order to it. So if you try to get the value at the zeroth position, and we know that there is no zero, first, second positions, so it tells me that it is a type error. It is not something I understand. I don't have any order. There is nothing called zeroth position, first position. So how should I give you what it is? Even if I try to change the element sitting at the third position, it does not identify what is at the third position. It is just a collection. So it says that I cannot do an item assignment at a position because I don't know what is the position of 3 is. So there is no position called 0, 1, 2, 3, nothing like that. Okay. So this was all about sets. So we have seen that it is a collection of unordered objects, something which is unordered, there is no order to it, and they are all distinct objects. Even if you try to duplicate elements, it will try to sort it up and give you the unduplicated distinct objects. Okay. After that, we have a very interesting type called none type. What do you mean by that? None type, as the name suggests, made of two words. Type means the type of the information that you have fed, the form of it, and it has none type. It doesn't have a specific type like a string, the integer, float, text we have talked about. It has a none type. It is different from them, and it doesn't have a specific information in place like string, that like integer. It is something which is null, which doesn't have a specific thing to be added to, something like that. So we will be discussing on this. Let's first look the keyword we use for it. So I have written it on the screen, so you can see v is equal to none. So none is basically the none. So the none type, it is being signified with this keyword. We can just inquire the type of it with this keyword called type, type of v. It says it is a none type. So it basically gives you that there is absence of situation, there is nothing in it. So that's what none type is. So if you try to add something to this none type, it has nothing in it, and you try to add an integer to it, and that's not possible. You can add an integer to an integer, but v is not an integer. It's none. It's none type. You cannot add an integer to a none type. So that's what it is trying to say. So none type is a type which has nothing in it. It's not an integer. It's not a string. So if you try adding something called a string or a number to it, it will say it cannot do that because you cannot add an integer to a none type. It's neither a boolean. If you try to understand whether it is false or true, it gives you false. That means it is not neither a boolean. It is not even zero. It's none. It's absence of situation. If you try to equate it to zero, it try to understand whether it is zero or not. It gives you false. No, it is not even zero. So this is something which we can understand from none type. It is neither a string nor an integer nor a float, neither a list tuple. It is not even zero, false, or true. It's none. It has nothing in it. So let's understand one of the beautiful things that we discussed in the very first video. So we did something called print hello, and I discussed about the print command. It is nothing but a blueprint of the input. It tells you how the input looks like. So when you put hello in it, it gives you that hello looks like this. It does not write this output here because it's just a view of the input. So if I typecast, if I basically not typecast, but try to understand the type of this print keyword, it gives me a none type. It tells me that it does not have any type. It is absence of any type like string, integer, float, and all that. And if you remember one of the conversation from our first video, so if I say print 1 plus 1, I try to add this 1 to this 1, but by adding this print keyword, it gives me that, it gives me a type error saying that I cannot add an int to a none type. So when you say print 1, it gives you a view of 1, and that is a none type. A view is not a specific type like string, integer, float. So if you do that, it gives you, and if you try to add 1 to this very print, it says that you are trying to add int to a none type, which is not possible. So this is wrong. So this is a very interesting idea, guys. I didn't tell you in the first video because that was the initial beginning. But now you know the why factor. Why can't you add word to print hello? Why can't you add an integer to some print of a number? This is the crude reason behind this. And that's why I always say, do know the why factor, right? And then you know, succeed like anything in this whole world. So this is very important. Do know why you cannot do this. In the very beginning, we know what it is and what is happening when we do this, but now you know the why factor as well. So that's appreciable. Now let's move on to a very interesting data type again. That's called dictionary. When I talk about this word called dictionary, guys, what comes to your mind? What strikes your mind? I hope some Oxford dictionary, some dictionaries that of English that you follow. So what actually is there in that dictionary? A word and a meaning to it. So a lot of words with their meanings is what a dictionary is significant of. Yes, it is right. So basically, dictionary gives you the meaning of all the words you want to search. Like that in Python, the dictionary is a key value pair. So you can probably see this term I have written on the screen, key value pair. And I'll just write it in a more understandable way so that you can follow well. Key colon value. So key is basically, I would say that it is a mapping of a value with a key. So just think about a grocery situation. Just think that you are visiting a grocery shop and you can probably see whatever item you want to buy. There is a price which is written corresponding to that. When the grocery man is trying to create a list, he always makes sure that he maps a price to every item. So he writes an item, rice per kg is equal to this, wheat per kg is equal to 45, and so on and so forth. So he creates a list for every item he has and a value which is the price to it. So this sort of list does not have something called the 0th position has this price, the first position has this price. So when you talk about a list, when we discussed about list, we just wrote the numbers and those numbers have had some indexing. So we would say that at the 0th position, 45 is sitting at first position, 55 is sitting at second position. There is a value called 75. So there was a position and there was a value. But I can't say that the item rice is sitting at 0th position, whose price is this. I should map rice with a price, then wheat with a price, then, oats with some price. So I want to, give a price to every item. If I want to create that sort of a list, I want to create a mapping, I should have this sort of a thing, a key, the value of the item I want to write, and the value that is the price of that item. That should be the case. So for these sort of ideologies, we have a very nice data type in Python that's called dictionary, as you can probably see on the screen, which again starts with a curly bracket and ends at it. And in between, you write something like this, key colon value. So anything before the colon is called a key, the item to which you want to assign a value. So this key can be anything. It can be a float, it can be integer, it can be a string, it can be tuple, it can be list, it can be anything you want to put. So here I have given certain examples. You can probably see that I have written a string called diet, okay? And I have given a value to it 5. Then I have given a key called weather, which is again a string, and I have given a value to it, which is a string 45 centigrade. Then again, I gave a string key, which is wheat per kg, and the value is 50, which is the price to it. And then I give a key, which is a integer 1000, and the value to it is a integer 2. So the value can also be any data type. The key can also be any data type. If I want to inquire the value of certain key, this is the way to do it. I will say dict1, the name of the dictionary. What is the value of this key? So I'll put a square bracket, and in the brackets, I would put in inverted commas the key whose value I want to get. Dict1, square brackets, and in parentheses diet gives me the value 5. Similarly, if I go about with this dict1, in the square brackets, I said 1000, it gave me the value 2. Okay, so seems like a very evident sort of situation. I know you can correlate with a grocery man, but just think about the situation that you might be an editor or you are reading an article and you want to figure out how many times a word appears in sort of in that document or an article that you're reading. So if you want to classify, there is some project that you are doing in terms of document classification or project classification, or when you think about a news article and they want to classify it as politics article or sports article, they want to understand that they have to do some keyword evaluation. So for that you are creating a dictionary, understanding how many times a word is appearing. So for that, you can do it simply like this by saying, let's define a name of the dictionary as D, and we just start with a curly brackets and say that A is the key whose value is 3. The is the key whose value is 6. World is the key whose value is 7. So this way we can create a dictionary of all the words with how many times they are appearing. So this is a live real-time example you can think about for a dictionary, and there are many more to think about. So it's a very useful sort of data type you can think about and use in your real life. So guys, with that, I hope you found this lecture pretty helpful and useful for your studies. And if yes,
then do not forget to like, subscribe, share and continue watching the videos coming forward. Bye bye.